I just want to take a quick minute to welcome everyone. We are thrilled to have you join us today for a new seminar in our seminars series collection, Living an Independent and Falls-Free Life with Assistive Technology. This is the fifth in our 2025 Falls Prevention Seminar Series. We've actually wanted to bring this one to you for a while and are glad that we're finally able to coordinate it this year. It's a really important topic that a lot of people need some information about. By the way, my name is Erin Olson. I work with the Idaho Commission on Aging. I've been managing the Disease Prevention and Health Promotion Program for about 6 years, give or take. And I was also able to create the Falls Prevention Coalition of Idaho in that time, which is really the focus of Falls Prevention Month and work that we're going to be doing throughout the year. I'm privileged to remain the coalition coordinator and work with a wonderful group of about 68 or so professionals in various parts of the healthcare social services industry. We are proud to bring you these seminars as part of Falls Prevention Awareness Month that happens every September. And with that, we're ready to go to our next slide, please. Now, the most popular question, I know all of you have heard this at almost every online seminar or webinar that you've been to, and that is, of course, can you get a copy of the slides? The answer, of course, is yes. A copy of the slides are currently available right now from the WebEx content panel. You can access that by clicking the content panel button, should be at the bottom of your screen. Now, all of these resources will also be available on our website at www.aging.idaho.gov/falls, F-A-L-L-S. If they're not, well, I know they're not up there now. They will be up there within the next day or two. We've been going through a website revision and kind of had a hold on new content, but I sent in the content today and hopefully that will be up and available for you very, very soon. Next slide, please. For everyone's convenience, both so you can review it yourself, because there's a lot of good information coming up, but also so you can share it with others, we are recording the session. You'll receive an email link when it's available, which again will be in a few days, probably the end of the week or early next week. It'll be on our YouTube 2025 Falls Prevention Awareness Month playlist on the ICOA channel on YouTube. And most of you probably know that that's youtube.com. And then our handle is at the @ Idaho COA. So @ symbol and then spelled out IDAHO-COA. The COA stands for Commission on Aging. And that is our handle for all of our social media. So you can follow us on Facebook or X or whatever other social media you may follow. Please do feel free to share that link with others who may be interested in the seminar that weren't able to attend today. We'd love for you to share that. Next slide, please. Now, this is a new topic with all kinds of good information, so we're almost positive that you will have questions. That's an okay thing. We want you to have questions. Please put any of your questions into the chat. After our expert is done with her presentation, we will answer as many questions as we have time for. Our tech guru, Michelle, who is working stealthily behind the scenes, will pose those questions to Krista at that time. And as I said, we'll get as many answered as we possibly can. Next slide, please. Now, we do not expect any technological emergencies, knock on wood, but just in case we get one, basically, if either you or any one of us gets kicked out, we will simply log back in as soon as possible. If for some reason we can't continue, then we will contact you and let you know when we will reschedule the seminar. Next slide, please. All right, now the question is, what are we going to be talking about? We'll start off with a very short reminder about why falls matter. Then I'll turn it over to Krista, our assistive technology expert. She will introduce us through her program and tell us a little bit about what assistive technology is, if we're not clear about that. And then she's going to walk us through the numerous types of assistive technology that are available. And then we'll finish up by taking your questions and doing a quick closing. If that all sounds good to you, which hopefully it does, then let's go ahead and get to it. Next slide, please. Many of us probably don't think about why preventing falls is important. Now, you guys are here, so obviously you have thought a little bit about it. But, sure, in general, we know that falling is bad. But what else do we need to know about it? And more specifically, kind of those long-term outcomes. So from what's on the screen, can you pick which of these things is true about falls? Now, in case you can't quite read the list, which I know could be an issue, the list includes that falls are the #1 cause of accidental injury and death in people over 65. It's also the #1 cause of traumatic brain injury across all age groups. 1 in 3 older Idahoans falls at least once each year, and that's higher than the national average. The national average is 1 in 4. So nationally, 25% of older adults fall. In Idaho, it's up to 33%. So it's a bigger concern. And then 1 in 5 of those falls cause a serious injury, including things like broken bones and traumatic brain injuries. Nationally, over 800,000 patients are hospitalized each year due to falls, and that statistic is actually a few years old. I think it's probably closer to about 1 million people a year now are hospitalized due to a fall. Now, kind of the astonishing thing that I learned is that the average medical cost of a fall in Idaho, one fall that requires medical attention, $38,373. That's a lot of money. Finally, the biggest thing is, falling increases or doubles your chance of falling again. So once you fall again. And in case you couldn't figure it out from the way I was speaking through the list, all of these things are true, and many of them are specifically true for Idaho. And that's why we need to be concerned about falls and do all that we can to prevent them. So let's go to the next slide, please. Now, with that, I will stop talking as soon as I introduce our wonderful speaker. I think I finally met Krista, or first met Krista in about, well, I know it was early 2020. That was the start of COVID, and she and I found ourselves on several different committees and subgroups between our different government agencies with the state. I recognized right away 2 things about Krista. One is that she knows a lot about how things work in the state of Idaho, very knowledgeable. And second, I learned that she's a get it done kind of person. She doesn't sit on her laurels, but actually gets right to work and accomplishes the things that she sets out to do. So over these past years, my opinions have not changed. Krista is actually a program coordinator for the Idaho Assistive Technology Project in Moscow, up in North Idaho. She's currently coordinating the Idaho I Can Connect program that provides telecommunication equipment for people who have both combined hearing and vision loss, which of course is very challenging. Krista also provides information and technical assistance on assistive technology, from hands-free computer access to home modifications, kind of a very big, wide gamut of things. She spends a lot of her time teaching people to use the accessibility features on their smartphones. I think I need to actually make a formal appointment with her about that. And Krista also works with Idaho's low interest financial loan program to help people acquire the assistive technology and home modifications that they need. She's been certified as an assistive technology professional since 2001 and previously worked for 23 years as an independent living coordinator with Disability Action Center Northwest, or DAC, which is our Center for Independent Living for North Idaho. Krista is an active Falls Prevention Coalition member, and I certainly do continue to appreciate her knowledge and her as a resource. It is my pleasure to turn it over to our expert presenter for today, Krista Kramer.
Let's go to the next slide. The Idaho Assistive Technology Project has a range of services that we offer. We're the statewide information and referral source for all things related to technology and disability across the lifespan. We do a variety of public awareness events, training and technical assistance, workshops, courses. And we also have lending libraries where we can demonstrate equipment and allow people to check it out and try before they buy. Let's go on to the next slide. So our AT resource centers, there are 5 of them around the state. Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, and Boise are all staffed by Idaho Assistive Technology Project staff. And then we also have a couple of collaborations, one with Life Incorporated in Pocatello and the other with the CSI Office on Aging in Twin Falls. So they also have small equipment libraries for lending and demonstrations. Next slide. And Erin mentioned our low interest financing program, which is designed specifically to help people purchase assistive technology. We offer low interest financing to help people purchase any assistive technology, ranging from lift-equipped van to home modifications. And historically, a great deal of that program was used to help people finance hearing aids. Probably 30 to 50% of the loans made through this program go to people who would not independently qualify for an unsecured bank loan on their own. And our interest rates are either prime rate when it's low enough or 5% currently, depending on the loan company. And a big portion of what our low interest financing program does is try to make referrals to whatever alternate funding sources might be available. Next slide. So what is assistive technology? The federal definition says it's any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system that's used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of persons with disabilities. Basically, it's a tool to get the job done. And assistive technology ranges from very low tech, such as a magnifying glass, to very high tech, such as a device that would snap a picture of text and read it out loud to you. And what I've found over time is that the right tools can make a world of difference. This picture here on the right is my parents on their aluminum ramp, which is an extension of their front porch, allows my dad to get in and out of the house. And it has also become a new avenue into the world for them. They spend more time outside on this deck than they ever did before they had it. Not to mention it allows Dad to get in and out and escape in his scooter when he wants to. Next slide. So where do most falls happen? According to the CDC, about 72% of falls happen indoors. And the primary places were number 1, bedrooms, number 2, bathrooms, and number 3, on the stairs. And about 28% of falls happen outdoors. Next slide. I want to talk a lot of what I will talk about today is focused on mobility assistive devices. And this list, the canes, the crutches, walkers, wheelchairs and scooters, commodes, if they're needed in the bedroom, patient lifts, hospital beds, these are all covered through Medicare's durable medical equipment coverage. However, there are a whole range of other tools. Let's go to the next slide. That are not necessarily covered by insurance. Things like walking sticks and grab bars and railings and handles and standing poles and bath chairs and transfer benches and bed rails and booster seats and lighting and non-slip surfaces and vehicle adaptations and an incredible list beyond this that are all available to help with mobility and fall prevention. But you might have to look harder, not only to find them, but to fund them. But there are a wide range of possibilities out there. And I'm going to spend most of my time talking about these a little more off the beaten path sorts of tools. Next slide. So, using mobility assistive devices, they can improve balance and reduce pain and increase mobility and hopefully decrease the risk of falls. However, they can also cause falls if they're used incorrectly. So I wanted to include this encouragement to work with an occupational therapist, physical therapist, or assistive technology professional to determine which tools best meet the needs of an individual in their environment and that they're fitted appropriately. Next slide. Let's start with grab bars and railings. And my goal with this slide is to get you thinking beyond the grab bars that are next to a toilet or in a shower, because they can be placed just about anywhere. This picture on the right, a woman has 2 grab bars installed on a one-step landing at her front door. The picture on the left is a grab bar that attaches to the wall on one end and to the floor on the other end. It's an L-shaped bracket. And these sorts of grab bars can be placed just about anywhere. Let's go on to the next slide. Other kinds of grab bars, such as the super pole, are tension mounted between the floor and the ceiling. So you can position it just about anywhere. You do need to make sure that they're not positioned in a way that if someone falls, that they'll get caught between the pole and the bathtub or the bed or their favorite recliner. But these poles can be positioned just about anywhere that someone needs it for the stability in getting to standing or transferring. The picture on the right is a pivot assist platform, which is basically a piece of plywood with a pivot disc on top that allows someone to step onto it, to grab the 2 bars, and then pull themselves to standing, pivot, and sit onto the bed that's sitting next to it from their wheelchair. I'm guessing that transferring onto beds and standing up again while putting on clothing are two of the reasons that people tend to fall in the bedroom. Next slide. There are also a variety of tools to help people get from seated to standing or from kneeling to standing safely. The first is looks like a shovel handle on an adjustable pole with a flat round disc at the bottom to hold it upright. And having just gone through a knee injury myself, I was using a tool like this one. Actually, you'll see it in one of the next slides to assist out in the garden or even to get from kneeling on the floor to standing. There are also a variety of standing assist devices that can be attached or set next to a sofa or a chair to give someone the arm supports to get from seated to standing, or to avoid that I'm sitting, boof, I've just fell. So armrests to help with those transitions can be really helpful. Next slide, please. Excuse me. This garden kneeler is a multi-factored tool that is the one I just described. I used a great deal when my knee was injured. One way you can kneel on it and use the handles on either side to push yourself either gently down or to stand up again. And when it's flipped over, it can be used as a garden seat. Some of them even have extension legs, like the picture on the right, that can be deployed to help reduce any chance of it tipping over as you're standing up or sitting down. Next slide. Another of those tools that I use a great deal, being short, is a step stool that has a tall handle on it, which gives me the stability to hold on to something as I'm getting on.
Krista is getting over having a little illness where she's coughing, so talking a lot is why she's starting to cough and taking a break every now and then to get a little drink and not cough.
Sorry about that. I've been flattened for a week, so this is my first attempt at
You're
getting
doing
my
just
voice
fine.
working again. Anyway, step stools. And the picture on the right is actually a step stool that has has handles on both sides that could be great assistance in stepping in or out of a bathtub or to a bed that is high. Let's go to the next slide, please. There are also quite a range of booster seat options that range from your standard lift recliner to more portable versions, such as the Up Easy booster seat. And my parents have at least 3 of these deployed on different chairs around the house that help my dad get from seated to standing. There are also versions of this kind of hydraulic portable seat built into a commode or shower chair. And there are power lifts that can be fit over a toilet, again, to give someone that supported seating and standing support. There are actually some of these that have a built-in bidet to help with cleaning as well as getting from seated to standing on the toilet. Next slide. And I've seen this new technology more prominently recently. A bed that actually can fold and lift someone to standing. This one's called the Easy Lift Sleep to Stand bed. Might take a bit of bedding management, like using a duvet cover to keep from getting tangled. But these kinds of beds actually will lay someone completely flat and then with a remote control bend in the middle and then just like a lift recliner support someone to a standing position. Next slide. Moving on to bathroom solutions. One of the first ones I want to mention is the Clean Cut Bathtub Accessibility Kit, which actually is a relatively inexpensive way to create a walk-in tub by cutting out a segment from the side of the bathtub and then covering that with a low entrance step. I've actually been in senior apartment complexes that they've done that to all of the tubs throughout the facility. The picture on the right is a sliding transfer bench, which can allow someone to sit. It can be an adjustable height so that a person can use it as a toilet riser, and then in this configuration could use it to slide from over the toilet into the bathtub and then slide back out again. Next slide. So there are a number of tub and floor lifts. Falling into the bathtub is another of those situations where a lot of falls happen. And there are lifts, little electric or hydraulic lifts that can be put into the bottom of a tub and allow someone to, with the remote control, lower it from seated height clear down into the bottom of the tub and back out again. And they can also be used as a tool for getting someone from a fall to standing again if they're having difficulty getting up off the floor. I've been doing a lot of research into these lately because getting off the floor has become an issue for some of the people in my life. Anyway, there are a variety of them that the bathtub one could just be picked up, put out in the middle of the floor, and someone could transfer onto it and then use it to raise up. The one on the right actually has wheels so that they could be moved from one position to another while on the floor lift. Next slide. Walk-in tubs are one of those frequently mentioned ideas that a lot of people would like to do in their bathrooms as they age. And I wanted to share a story. My first introduction to one of these tubs was someone who had a spinal cord injury. And over time, it was his condition was continuing to deteriorate, and he was less and less able to get himself to standing to get into his walk-in tub. And so they were looking for a lift system that would get him over the half wall next to the seat, like in the picture on the left. And I wanted to throw out the idea to anyone who is considering a walk-in tub as a long-term accessibility tool in their bathroom to make sure that you select one that the door next to the seat completely opens so that a person could transfer directly from a wheelchair into the walk-in tub. Next slide, please. So, stair climbing aids. In addition to good, solid railings, there are some tools that have been designed to provide a support bar for someone to hold on to as they climb, that moves with them and can prevent them from tumbling into the open space up or down the stairs. One is called a steady stair, which is just a railing or a little pole attached to a railing that when you push down on it, it holds steady. When you lift up on it, it allows you to move it up to or down to the next stair. The one on the right, the assist step, is a bit fancier version, but is also mounted on a railing along the wall. And it has a couple of different height adjustments, so you can hold on to it in different positions, depending on whether you're going up or down the stairs. And again, it's just a mechanical solid support to hold on to as you move up and down a set of stairs. Next slide. Another tool that can be useful if someone doesn't have the strength to easily step a full step height, you can install half stairs, which could be as simple as blocks of wood that are half the height of a standard stair, so that you can step half a step height and then another half step, and then another half step, and another half step, instead of having to step a full standard 7 inches. You'd only have to step 3.5 at a time. And the picture on the left, I sort of hesitated about adding this one in, but it is a product that's out on the market, which is a half step cane, so that you can, again, do this 3.5 inch stair climbing rather than 7 inch stair climbing. You just need to be very careful that it gets fully positioned onto the stair, so that you don't accidentally go sliding off. Some of them only have 2 feet instead of a solid block. And if they were accidentally positioned so that it tipped off the stairs, it could be not the safest of the options out there. Next slide. So there are a variety of electric stair lifts. Some of them provide a seat that can move up a railing. They can go around corners. They can go across landings. And I know that, at least in my perception, it was like, oh, but they're so expensive. And then I thought about the cost of a single month in a long-term care facility. And I think these electric stair lifts are in the price range of 1 to maybe 2 months cost in long-term care. And so, again, I encourage anyone who is really committed to staying in their own home to invest in the technology that would make staying there safe. The picture on the right is a lift that I just discovered called the motor lift. And I've seen them used in situations like getting someone who can stand from ground level up into their motorhome, or from their garage floor up to the doorway level into their home. And it's just a small portable lift platform, actually a lot like the floor lift that you saw in the earlier slide, only this one's designed for someone to stand and hold the handle, and a mini elevator, basically the size of their feet, would lift them. I've seen them as high as 32 inches. So again, another possibility. Next slide, please. So the other options for someone to stay in their wheelchair and go from one level to another are platform wheelchair lifts. The one on the left is a vertical porch lift, but could also be used in a garage or in a variety of other places where someone in their wheelchair could roll into the lift and go from one level to another. The picture on the right is like the seated chair lift in the earlier picture, only someone could actually roll their wheelchair onto the platform, and the whole platform could move up and down a stair rail. Next slide. Trekking poles. I have recently become quite a fan of using trekking poles myself, not because my knees need the support, but because the bottom half of my bifocals are not focused where my feet are. And using a trekking pole gives me a much better sense of depth perception when I'm walking on uneven territory. So I highly recommend that, especially after my recent adventures in Iceland. Let's go on to the next slide. Couple of other mobility walking supports that I've recently encountered. The picture on the right is called the Life Glider, and it's very much like a rollator walker, only it has a bicycle-like seat and a seat belt so that you can actually strap it to yourself, and it can give you 4 points of, or 4 wheels of support while walking. And the bicycle seat can give you not only balance support, but can help support your weight and provide better balance. The device on the left side, the Zine mobility device, is a crossover between a wheelchair and a seated walking support. So again, it's got a bicycle-like seat that someone can sit in, and they can control a hydraulic lift that allows them either to go from a fully seated position up to a supported standing position where they can walk with the device's support, or even like in this picture, jog along while having that support underneath. Next slide. Transferring in and out of vehicles is another of those situations that can be fall hazards. And I wanted to share both a low-tech and a high-tech possibility to make those transfers easier. The handybar or car cane in the picture on the right is just a small solid handle that fits into the little metal bracket where your car door latches, and gives you a solid handle to push up from. And at the high-tech end of the spectrum are things like the Bruno Valet seat, which actually the seat rotates and lowers to a level where an individual can transfer onto that seat, so down to wheelchair height. And then the seat rises and turns you into a position within the car. So again, it can provide a great transfer option for someone who's having difficulty getting from a wheelchair or from their walker and seated and turned into position in a vehicle. Next slide. Lighting is another of those safety tools to prevent falls. And there are a variety of motion activated options now that allow you to install either battery operated or electric motion activated lights so that whenever somebody approaches a place that might be a hazard, the lights automatically come on. Another of those tools that we personally use at home is a flashlight like this Blackout Buddy that's supported by the American Red Cross, which is an emergency flashlight that in our house just lives plugged into an electrical outlet. And whenever the power goes out, it automatically comes on. And you can then grab it and use it as a flashlight to get you anywhere you need to go when the power's out. Next slide. Reachers and grabbers. These are another of those tools where anything you can do to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground, I consider a win in terms of fall prevention. This picture shows somebody with a long-handled grabber getting something off of a high shelf by extending and having the hand or the tool reach out, grab something, and pull it down. They're also useful for picking up those puzzle pieces that fall onto the floor. But a story to share there, you need to be careful that you're not sitting on one of those booster seats that I showed you earlier when you reach over, because the hydraulics in them, if you reach too far, can boost you nose first onto the floor. So another of those cautions, the right tool in the right place equals safety. Always be on the alert. Next slide, please. For people whose mobility is compromised and getting up and across the room to turn on or off the lights or the TV or the appliances, using environmental controls, a remote control that can turn those things on and off for you, can be a great way to reduce the number of ups and downs and provide safety as well. I actually use one of these remote controls for my garbage disposal because the switch in the garbage disposal died, and the only way for me to otherwise turn it on and off was to crawl underneath the sink to plug and unplug it. And there are versions of these that are smart device activated, but there are also ones that you can get for surprisingly little money. A set of 5 of the switched outlets and 2 remotes can be purchased for under $35 and give you complete control from bed over your lights, your radio, the fan, the heater, without you ever having to get out of bed to control them. Next slide. There are also dressing tools that can help with things like getting on those compression stockings. The sock donner on the left allows you to pull the sock inside out, stick your toe in, and then grab the handle and pull your sock up your leg. And there's also a device to help you do the same kind of thing with your pants, and a PVC frame that allows you to put the pants onto the frame and then swing it clear down around your toes without having to bend over too far. Next slide. And another of those fall prevention items that are relatively newly on the market are things like sidewalk and stair heating mats to melt snow and ice. You just plug them in and let the warmth from these mats melt the snow on your stairs. I've also seen people who have used standard heat tape under their aluminum ramps to keep those clear of snow and ice. Next slide. Caregiver alerts are another of those fall prevention tools, whether that is a motion detector for someone who wanders at night to send an alert to a care provider to go and assist them, or intercoms to allow someone to call for help, or the alerting system in the center of this was a tool that I used for my grandparents when my grandfather, who was completely deaf when he took his hearing aids out at night, was primary caregiver for my grandmother, who had lost a leg to diabetes and was sleeping in a recliner in the living room. And she was at fall risk every time she got up unassisted. So we set up the doorbell for this system next to her chair, and she would press the doorbell, which would set off the vibrating hockey puck you see in the picture under my grandfather's pillow. So anytime she needed assistance, she could call for help. And he actually slept better because he wasn't always worried that she would get up and fall and he wouldn't hear her. Next slide. And then there are the personal emergency response systems that are becoming ubiquitous on every smart device these days. One of the tools that, if we could prevent people from spending too much time on the floor when they have fallen, it can also reduce the medical complications that happen after a fall. So another thing to know about the personal emergency response systems is that there is coverage for some of them on the aged and disabled waiver and the developmental disability waivers. So if someone doesn't have a smartphone, there are other possibilities for getting a call system that works. I believe this is my last slide. Yes. So here's my contact information. Krista Kramer at the Idaho Assistive Technology Project. K. Kramer at uidaho.edu.
Thank you, Krista. That's fantastic and overwhelming information. Like you said, everything from just the most basic mechanical to some of the new technology, and boy, some things that I never even thought of. When I went through nursing and everything, you basically had a cane to a walker to a wheelchair, and those were your three options. And now, wow, there's a lot of stuff. We have
Yes.
only a very few minutes left, so I won't talk too much, but I will have Michelle take us to our next slide, which is, if you have questions, put them in the chat. And Michelle, do we currently have any questions?
We do not. Oh, we just got a question. What are some of the financial resources to assist with purchasing these items other than Medicare?
One of the possibilities that I'm hearing more, at least possibilities for, are those insurance plans that now have a flex spending account as part of the wellness programs. I would encourage you to check with your insurance company to see whether they would allow purchase of some of these devices, assistive technology devices, as part of that flexible spending plan. There are also a variety of programs that help do equipment redistribution to help make those bathroom tools that Medicare does not cover available, the toilet risers and the bath seats. It's one of those mysteries to me how they have decided that those are not worth the financial investment to cover with Medicare, but they don't seem to be. Anyway, our low interest loan program is another option for getting a lot of these items. And there is no lower limit on being able to take out a loan to purchase equipment. But you do need to be able to make payments. Anyway.
I know that Habitat for Humanity, that most of us think is building homes, they actually are a partner of our Falls Coalition, and they do things like installing grab bars and making some of those improvements, ramps, stairs, entryways, lighting. And their programs are often at no cost or really, really, really inexpensive cost. So, just start reaching out. And that's really what, Krista's program, what the Falls Coalition and all of us are trying to do is make it easier for people to figure out, how do I get the stuff that I need without having to spend, tens and 20 hours just trying to find the resources. So that's an excellent question. Do we have any other questions, Michelle?
We do not have any other questions at this moment.
Well, that's probably good because we're just about out of time. And I think, Krista, you did an awesome job with your voice. I know it's hard when you have to talk and you have to try to not to cough at the same time. And Michelle is kind of dealing with the same thing. So I will just go to our next slide, which is to say thank you to everybody. First of all, to all of you who made time today to spend an hour with us and learn this very important information. And if you're like me, I learned there are a lot of things available that I had no idea about. We also want to, of course, thank Krista for giving us the wealth of her knowledge. And you do all have her contact information. It's in your slides handout, which, like we said, is available from the content pane or will be available from our website. And of course, we don't want to forget thanking Michelle, who made all of those slides run seamlessly, as well as facilitate our questions. So if we go to our very last slide, we will just say a final thank you, goodbye, and we hope that you continue to live falls free in ID. Thanks, everybody.